No, that's not play. So I think do I have any more give on this?
Not really.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna pull it this way. It's good. See, this one always looks. The Facebook one always has the bad lighting, man. They suck. Oh, well, it's better now. Why does it sound like it's Megan skipping so much?
Because they got too many programs on this thing. Give me a second.
It sounded like that for the people? This Facebook one always looks whack. Whack. I don't know why it looks like that. Dumb down some of that light. Ooh. I got all these different kind of logos that have all of a sudden popped up on my Facebook. Finally, they gave me like the same ones I had during the whatchamacallit. Let's see how this light is looking.
Okay, I'm about to play your show drop, and I'm gonna play dance tonight.
Cool, that's fine.
Hello and good morning, 95.3 Gems listeners. This is It's Debatable.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
Political and scandalous legal tea of the week. A call out of social injustices and heated debatable conversations dialed in by listeners just like you. Now,
I don't like
here
this.
is your attorney,
I don't like these
political
filters.
commentator, and your show host, the Fly
Something's happening
Esquire,
with this light.
attorney Nyanza L. Moore on 95.3 Jams.
I hate that. So awful. I've never had this many type of face things that I could. Hi everybody, we're getting ready for the show right now. I was trying to get my filters together for the Facebook live stream, but it looks like I've gotten all these extra additional filters, and I don't know which one to choose. Oh yes, it'll be a cosmic day. Yes. Okay, so here we go. We're starting our live stream. So we have a good show today. I hope you all are ready, because we got a whole lot to talk about this morning. Not a lot of gossip, more about, high crimes, high treason, coup d'etats, how the Republican GOP is trying to take over, and how the insurrectionists should really be called the treasonists, so we don't actually forget what they were doing. They were committing high crimes and misdemeanors is what the Constitution normally charges treasonists for. Oh, that's good. This sounds good. So, but I always like to get into some social tea. So this morning, let me see. We're going to talk. Did y'all know that OJ got released? You know what? I mean, I don't know. OJ might be a part of the Illuminati. He is the only person who can get charged with double murder, get not guilty. And allegedly, the person who was responsible for him being free, Kardashian, his daughter now takes the baby bar and passes it and wants to actually represent somebody. Now, listen, I don't really think in this case it's like father, like daughter. I think that Kardashian was one of the greats. Is Kim going to follow in his footsteps? I mean, I don't know. But, that could have, there's two ways to think about it, but I'll have to say that for the air. I really do like this cosmic thing right here. It's very cosmic-y on my Facebook. But, so we're going to be talking about O.J. Simpson just a little bit when we come back on there. Because, see, I haven't said my hello, good morning yet to the people. So, let's see. There's been a whole lot of talk about voting rights, y'all. And they also have, let me see. You know what? Did y'all know that Larsa Pippen, Scottie Pippen's wife, she's back on the Housewives of Miami. Can Larsa please just sit down? she used to be best friends with Kim Kardashian. Or she was like running up with the Kims. So I think she kind of like tries to look like her now. But, she finally she split with Scott and fell out with the Kardashians. But you know what? She's just thirsty. She's been thirsty for a long time. And she knows how to, listen, this is a picture of her and Kim. Look, her and Kim during better days, when the friendship was glorious. They used to wear their extensions the same length. They'd be like, girl, you wear black, I'll wear white. But now they hate each other's guts. Well, I guess really Larsa wants to be on the Kim team, and Kim's just like, girl, you need to go stay over there with Scottie. But, now that she's a Miami housewife, I guess you could say maybe she's going to be someone that people need to watch. I don't know. Ready?
30 seconds.
Okay, so we're going to start off. First, we're going to start off with celebrity. and News Today, and okay, y'all ready? You ready? Have I done a microphone check? My microphone seems very far away from me today. I don't really want to have to lean in. Is that good? Is it too much in my face? I think so. I have my husband here today, everybody. I'm gonna shout out Eric on the air.
It's 10 in the morning and it's time to spill the
I don't have that much celebrity tea, do I? Oh shoot. I better find out some top tea, huh?
On 95.3 Jam.
I might be too strung out on compliments, overdose on confidence, starting
You're
out to
on.
get.
Good morning and happy Thursday, everybody. I hope you all have already gotten all your coffee, your water, gotten all the way to the water cooler, passed by all those Karens without her giving you the side eye. You were able to duck and dive from that professor when you're about to take your final exam. You know, the professor that's been hazing you the entire semester. For all those of you who've been watching the TV maddeningly, wondering what's been going on with the housewives, well, nobody cares what's happening with the housewives. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because nothing really matters except what's going on with Jen Shaw and the Shaw Chalet. Now, let me tell you something. If you got the chance to watch last week's Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, you will see that Jen Shaw's husband, Coach Sharif, you know, the one that I call. Now, remember when I said I was pretending on the air like I was Coach Shaw, because I believed it was really Coach Shaw calling Jen Shaw on the phone when she got the call about the feds coming to the door. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen out there? I was right. Yes, I was right. Jen Shaw actually, you know, she did a stupid move, y'all. If you failed to watch the show, she did a stupid move. We all see what happened to Erica Girardi when she decided to go ahead and showcase all of her legal woes live and in living color throughout the whole season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Maybe that was just her way to get to stay on there. Well, it looks like dummy Jen Shaw is about to do the same dumb thing. I don't know why they try to beat the feds in the media. Hunty, you're just giving them all the information that they need. And let me tell you something. Now, for all of you biracial families out there, this is going to be very telltale sign. For you black men that are married to non-black women, you must very well explain the black tax to your non-black wife. Let me break that down to you. Now, my husband's a black man, and thankfully he's in the studio with me today. Yes, the handsome Eric Moore is just sitting right over there. So we're going to do a nice unboxing later on. Remember how I unboxed something mysterious the first time? Well, I now have my husband here, so you got to stay tuned for that. But anyway, so when you think about the phone call that Coach Lawyer Shaw, remember, he is a lawyer. I knew it was him on the phone. And that's what Jen admitted to. When she had her lunch one-on-one with Heather, she broke down the whole story about how the feds got her. And ladies and gentlemen, they pulled her. When she left that minivan situation, on camera, and said, I got to get out of here. I got to go right now. Immediately, she hops in a pickup truck. The pickup truck drives her around the corner, drives her long enough down the road where she said to Heather, well, it looks like there was a white van that was following us. And so we pulled over. And I thought, what could they want? Girl, you know what they wanted. They certainly didn't ask for your driver. They said, oh, we're from the state of New York. She's like, oh, okay. And we just want to find out some things. And we want to let you know that you're under arrest. They read over her Miranda rights. Yes, they did. So she explains all that. And she goes to the play-by-play. She said, yeah, that was basically my husband on the phone telling me, you better get up out of there real quick. Somebody's coming. Something's going down. But Jen Shaw immediately used the black card. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's normally reserved for black people. When you pull out the racism black card and how I felt so threatened, she completely allowed Heather, the white woman, remember, the blonde friend, who kind of sidelined, was trying to be her loyal friend. But when you saw her actions outside of that, she kind of like had too many jokes to actually be an authentic friend in this Jen Shaw situation. Because I'm sure when Jen Shaw saw the playback of what it looked like when Heather was talking trash about her just a little bit and making jokes a little bit too soon and trying to kind of like pull Mary, you know, it looked like a pile on, but Coach Shaw gave his wife good advice, but he also sat with her at that table. Yes, he did. At the kitchen table at the rented secondary Shaw Chalet, you know, the second lease that they got. And he said, you know, baby, no, first she said, now I had to rewind this part like 3 or 4 times because I really couldn't understand because, you know, when she's trying to put on all the teary up eyes, like, you know, like Erica Girardi with the big mascara dripping down her face, you know, that fakery she gave us, knowing full well she wears waterproof mascara. Probably a waterproof wig too. But Jen Shaw, she starts trying to fake cry, but then she starts saying, you know what? You know, I had to explain that, you know, my son is black and the feds had guns at him and then he just didn't deserve that. And, you know, we always try to explain how if you're a black child, you have to worry about the police. And if you make one wrong move, well, she was right. Now, see, thank you, Coach Shaw, for explaining to your non-black wife that she better raise her sons to be scared of the feds. Because you see, we saw all on the video that the feds came in with guns blazing, taking out those minors that they knew were not named Jen Shaw. They knew they were not looking for a black boy by the age of 15 or 16 years old. They knew very well that they were looking for a Hawaiian, Asian-looking woman that's probably about 5'2" on her best day. They knew very well they didn't have to do those people like that. They knew that it was not a situation where they needed to bring their guns. But what do they like to do? And what does Bravo like to do even better? Bravo loves, see, Bravo wasn't able to get the camera footage of Jen Shaw actually getting arrested or taken when she got out of the white minivan. We didn't see any camera footage of that, remember? Now, I know from having been on a reality show way back in 1876 that the cameras usually have 4 sets. You got the camera that's going to take the entire room. Then you got the one that's going to give the shot lens right up in your face. Like if you see a close-up of someone's face, the cameraman is literally right there in front of them. Then you have another camera that's usually hidden in the wall that's not being manipulated. Then you have a 4th camera. Now that's the one where the guy has it on his shoulder. Kind of like when you see the hurricane chasers, when they have the camera running. You remember how you see Al Roker with his microphone getting blown over with the yellow jacket on? Well, there's a cameraman that follows him. I guarantee you, one of those executive producers said, put that roving cameraman in a car, have them go follow Jen Shaw to see where she's really going. Because guess what? They had no problem. Bravo followed the feds to the Shaw Chalet number 2, and they had the Bravo cameras ready to go ahead and videotape her son being taken out of the house by the DEA. Bravo, yes, you did do that. Yes, you did show that minor child. Now, here's what I would have a problem with if I was Jen Shaw. Well, I would have a problem with, but we know that you can't sue anybody, Jen Shaw, because when you signed that raggedy contract, because you signed your life away just so you could be famous and be on the reality show, you probably signed away your rights to sue Bravo and all of its subsidiaries and all the producers and all the affiliates, and none of your people that follow behind you can ever sue them for any liability for anything that they do. They can put you on television, make you look like a clown, go ahead and modify your life and make it seem more sensational than it really is. And they can also make up stories and cut and paste your languages together. So if we know all that, then we knew that Bravo had really no reason but to play into and show America the black stereotype so that we can all see live and in color. Every single time they bring up Jen Shaw, they don't really bring up her trying to get her camera unhooked from her belt. They always bring up the video footage of the feds at her house when she wasn't there, showing her black son with his hands behind his head and his arms out, saying, like he's under arrest. They wanted to freeze frame that same that same narrative. So in that same visual imagery. Well, imagery matters. And so Jen Shaw, she's going to try to hide behind the black card, but we saw the black card is really going to play into her favor, because you saw how those white women, baby, they came for the Asian woman and they came for the black woman. They turned on Mary so fast when Jen Shaw was sailing down the river going on her way to Sing Sing. They turned on Mary so fast because they were such haters about how she got her money that they decide her fake friend, I don't know what, not Meredith, but the other one, I used to I forgot her name. But the one that has the dark hair that claims that she's such a good friend, blah, blah, blah. But Lisa claimed to be such a good friend, but she sailed Mary down the river when she brought one of her parishioners there to an event and allowed Meredith to hear a conversation where it says, allegedly, that Mary is the leader of a cult, that all of her members are supposed to give all of their money over to her, and that they actually believe that she is God in fact, and not like the Holy Trinity situation, but that she's God. And they brought all this, Bravo brought all this out there to make that a storyline. It's really not a storyline. They try to drag some black man on there to downplay the black woman on there, and then have the black boy being led out by the DEA. And nowhere on where did we say, all we saw was the white women feeling like they were so petrified and how could it affect their livelihood? But you know what? Then they actually had the camera in the lawyer's office where Jen was having an attorney-client privilege conversation. Now, let me just tell you something about the attorney-client privilege. That privilege is broken whenever the attorney or the client discusses anything about the legal ramifications or the strategy of the case or anything involving the substantive issues or the procedural issues of the case or their strategy with a non-attorney that's not been retained in the case. So if you go have the camera crew listening in on an attorney-client privilege conversation, and then you want to say, well, we want to keep all of this private. Well, honey, don't you think the feds are going to make a discovery request just to go ahead and get all of the records that you had of any discussions that you may have had with those housewives back and forth where you were trying to run away from the feds, or that little secret conversation that you had with your husband? Honey, y'all broke privilege whenever you told about the conversation that you and your husband secretly had on the phone. There's a spousal privilege that you can't testify against your other spouse in court. I'm trying to tell you all, these people on these reality shows are sinking all of the protections that the Constitution gives them by right to not to have to divulge things that would incriminate them. But I like when dumb people get on television and do dumb things with their dumb lawyers on TV and expose their entire case in chief to the public at large, because otherwise we wouldn't really have anything else to talk about. Moving on from the criminals over there at the Housewives of Salt Lake City, then you have the dummies up there in Atlanta that are still playing the Portia show, which I could only bear the first 3 minutes of episode 1, then I never watched again. Looks like it's been on for about the 4th week this season. I plan on not watching just to teach Bravo that I will not be playing into their bull stuff when I can go ahead and watch what? Harlem on Amazon Prime. Anyway, moving on. Did you know that O.J. Simpson was recently released early on his parole? Now, I know you're asking, how did this happen? Well, that's what happens when you have very good attorneys that can quietly go ahead and file all these appeals. Never mind if you wrote a book saying, "If I Did It," about Nicole Brown Simpson. Never mind if OJ actually was incarcerated for felony assault for trying to steal back the paraphernalia that was stolen from him by some boosters. You know what OJ did. Y'all don't remember that story? OJ went to a Las Vegas hotel room when he saw, so some people stole some OJ paraphernalia and was trying to sell it hot on the market, on the black market. OJ found out about it, and OJ's like, look here, I'm the only one who's going to make some money. And you don't think that killer, or let's just say alleged killer, conviction, not guilty, the not guilty killer, not guilty double homicide of almost cutting his ex-wife heads off. But if you want to say, if OJ Simpson felt like, okay, I'm already out, I'm free, I already wrote a book called If I Did It and they didn't arrest me, so now, homeboy, you think you can go ahead and sell my loot without giving me a piece of the action? Well, OJ went up there in full OJ form and went right up there to the booster, right up there, honey, and banged on his door and said, oh, you better get your butt out here. Now, typically, two criminals cannot ask for law enforcement to protect them when they are in furtherance of a crime. But I guess if it's O.J. Simpson, who is one of the criminals, and then the thief, who is probably a white guy, tells LAPD, you know what? I'm committing a crime because I stole this stuff from OJ, but OJ's saying he used to want to get it back from me, and he's trying to steal it from me. Can y'all arrest him? So yeah, they said, yeah, we can. So they decided to trump up some charges on OJ. Now listen, sometimes when they do racist things and go ahead and put OJ in jail when he's not supposed to be arrested, the police were really not supposed to interfere with what happened because it was two criminals. But I kind of feel like that's the time where we do need a black person's rights taken away. OJ needed to spend some time in the pen, but you see, he got off on early parole. God will figure out a way for OJ to pay for all the crimes that he has done that we don't know about. OJ will be able to get off in the United States system of justice of America for whatever reason. Maybe he made a lot of donations to the Republican candidacy of whoever's trying to run against Gavin Newsom for the governor. Maybe there were some people in the GOP saying, you know what, OJ, we always liked you. But anyway, I'm going to get off OJ and let's just talk about what's going on with the January 6th insurrectionists, which I'm going to call the high treasonists after we go to a song and give you everybody a break. So if you haven't had a chance to go get your coffee, we're going to be talking about the black tax, the black on black tax. And finally, we had that good black man senator, that Alpha Phi Alpha man, that preacher man out there saying that there's an existential threat to our very democracy, standing up, that freshman senator from the state of Georgia that has reminded me of that freshman senator from the state of Illinois that after his one term in office as a senator, people thought that he should run for the presidency of the United States. And ladies and gentlemen, I think we found our new man. It is Senator Warnock out of Georgia. Our favorite freshman senator, because he's the only one that had enough cojones. I probably shouldn't say cojones when I'm talking about a minister, but he's the only one that had enough testosterone to go ahead and stick it to the GOP on the record. And if you didn't see him dressed up, he was in the sharpest suit I've seen since I saw my husband in his suit on Sunday at church. But anyway, we're going to talk about Senator Warnock and how we need him to be the next president of the United States. Coming back after these messages. Oh, yeah. Bloop, 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 bloop. I love Warnock. Y'all know I was thinking that he's an alpha. That's probably not relevant, but it's okay. I can say what I want to say because this is instant battle. Come on over here, Attorney. I'm about to say, come on over here, Attorney Eric. So I have my husband in the studio today. Come on over here behind me. I can't move my thing. So my husband is on vacation, y'all. So my husband, Eric Moore, is with me on the set. And so we're going to be doing our unboxing at the end of the second hour of the show. And we have, we have a sinful boxing. I don't drink, but I have a liquor box. I had a subscription box to a liquor company, a woman-owned business called Box on the Rocks. And grab me that box over there, Eric, the one that's all the way folded up. So Box on the Rocks is a monthly subscription by a company that brings you a surprise every month of all of what you can get to make a cocktail beverage. Now, they also have a mixture of what you can make. Is this up? Okay, so this is the right way. So this is Box on the Rocks, and it's at Box on the Rocks. It's at boxonthee.rocks, if you can see that. So this is one of the boxes. I'm giving you a preview of how they ship it. Now, this one was the Blue Hawaiian. So when they ship it to you, I'm trying to get a good unboxing right here. They send you this card. They send you all of the ingredients on what to make. They have the cut apart 3 pieces. So they have the 2 liquors and then the one non-alcoholic, since that's the one that I make, since it's like the one for the pregnant people, but I'm not pregnant. So this one was the Blue Hawaiian mocktail. So let me show you how classy. See, when it's a women-owned business, no offense to Eric Moore standing right behind me, but he's going to stand behind me on this. So when it's a woman-owned business, they take very good care about how they do the boxing. So this box comes, thank you for Eric for all your helping. So if you can turn it up, you see that it comes with the name brand pineapple juice from Dole. They give you the dried fruit that goes as the garnish. They give you the shot glass that comes with it. And the, whatever this is, whatever it is to take to make all the ingredients, they add it to the box. They also have their own brand of Barmalade. Now, anybody who makes their drinks with citrus, their Barmalade is also sold at True Wine? Total Wine and Specs. So this is in the high-end area. But they also give you the blue curacao. So it's a very, very classy, chic thing. And since they gave you a blue marlin. So, and then they gave you, so this is a flower abstract that changes colors once you put it inside of the liquor. They don't supply the actual alcohol, but they tell you which liquor to mix in it. Like they'll say what's included is the instructional guide, the shot glass, the syrup, the marmalade, the ocean spray juice. And they say what you need is basically, what is the alcohol for this? Malibu rum and Deep Eddy vodka. So I'm going to do an unboxing. So this is the box that y'all got to see on the back scene. But the unboxing, since they bring it every month, the unboxing that we're going to do live on the show, what happened at the end, there's a second box that I haven't actually seen yet. So I saw that box already. So, but here's the tea. Remember that sex box I opened up last week, last month for my November unboxing? And I had the 2 guests in the station, the 2 gentlemen. And it was like the straps where you strap your legs and arms to the post. I was like, it's too much like slavery. Well, my husband and I, we never use that box. We're not into that. We just do regular. So we brought, they sent me another sex box, you guys. They did. So now I have a sex box that I'm going to actually open up that box and the liquor box. Listen, sex and liquor is what people seem to be needing at the end of this Christmas season. Okay? I hope you're getting some somewhere, because this is known as the cuffing or cupping. Is it cuffing season or cupping season?
Cuffing.
Cuff, like you're going to handcuff yourself to somebody in the male or female perspective because you want to make sure. Let me tell you something. Anybody out there that's single during the holidays, listen, ladies, I'm going to give you a tidbit. Now, you see, you need to be out there finding a man or a woman or a whatever you like That's good for some good loving during the holiday season of love. I'm trying to tell you. Because the cuffing season, when you hitch down, you have to have somebody to snuggle with. You have to have somebody to where, if you're single, you may not have your whole house decorated like Christmas. But when you got 400 kids or 2 kids, that seems like 400. Listen, our whole house is a Christmas like the North Pole threw up in there because we have kids. But if you're single, you just need somebody to snuggle with up under that bare rug or on top of the bare rug in front of the fireplace. Go find somebody to cuff with. So I'm going to unbox the sex box. Now, I'm not trying to tell you to go out and just start having sex. Don't go get the sex box and just start like cuffing with everybody. Yeah, the sex box is meant for you to cuff, like with your person that you've already tested for STIs, STDs, and see whether or not they've gotten their voter registration. You should not have unprotected sex with people who are not registered to vote. All right. So we are back, everybody, and I want to say welcome back for this next segment. So I was talking a little bit during my break, which I shouldn't do, but you can live stream my show at Nyanza Elmore on Instagram and at Nyanza Elmore on Facebook. So people that are live streaming me are able to see that we did a virtual unboxing of a box that we're going to reveal later on in the segment. That is a liquor box monthly subscription for those of you who like to make fancy cocktails at home. But we also got in the second sex box. So I have my husband here in the studio today. So he and I are going to do the unboxing live stream so you can all watch it. So please tune in. Go ahead and set your timer to about 11:35 in this segment to go ahead and be ready for the unboxing. Anyway, I left you at the last segment telling you why. The very next, pivotal candidate that could actually suck all of the dead life out and breathe all of the good spiritual energy in to be a voice of the people, to bring a spiritual reckoning across the United States of America from a Democratic platform, but not just standing as a Democrat. We have, who I have been touting since the moment I said Stacey Abrams should have been the first person on the priority list for Joseph President Biden. Should have had Stacey Abrams on the top of his priority list when it came down to giving cabinet positions. Let me tell you something about political posturing that happens when we smell blood in the water. Now, Republicans smelled blood in the water when they saw that Joseph Biden was spending too much time on the Build Back America plan and the transportation and infrastructure plan instead of protecting those rights, which were constitutionally given to Black people and brown people and the poor people, which is the unequivocal constitutional right to vote in free and fair elections across the United States of America for all people since the Voting Rights Act of 1963 and the Civil Rights Act of 1964, where we were no longer separate but equal, and we could all go to the polls and vote without a poll tax. Well, today's poll tax that was being put in place by the Texas legislator and other Republican-run legislative bodies like the Virginia legislative body, the legislatures in the state of Kentucky, in the state of Mississippi, in the state of Wisconsin, in all of those states where they have a GOP-led legislator and a GOP voice at the top being their governor. Those are the same governors that are refusing federal aid for poor people. They refused federal aid for the people that didn't have any type of health insurance coverage. Remember that Texas ranked last in insurance coverage for people. 1 out of every 6 persons living in the state of Texas between the 2018 and the 2020 election when they were campaigning. We all knew that Texas was 1 in 6 people were not insured. And Texas still being one of the wealthiest states in the union that was sitting on a rainy day fund that was reaching upwards of $10 billion at the time in 2018. 2018, Texas had $10 billion minimum in the rainy day fund. Hurricane Harvey came in 2017. Remember that? Texas would not tap into the rainy day fund to help Harvey people out in Houston because the governors of Texas were kind of upset that we had a Democratic city in Harris County. We had a Black mayor that was a Democrat that was going to make sure he was going to be of the people. But what happened? Texas, when Barack Obama was coming out of office and Donald Trump was running for office, all the Republicans could say was, we don't want Obamacare. We don't want the Affordable Care Act. Mitch McConnell was like, well, you don't run the Senate, so I'm going to make sure we file every single lawsuit over time in every single state to systematically go state by state to each of the Republican governors that were mad that they had a black man in the Oval Office. They said at the state level, now this is what, now remember, I'm going to give you my version, the Nyanza Elmore Esquire, 20-year lawyer, black woman, married to a black man who has been living under systemic racism and who has been able to thrive in white America in spite of all of the hindrances. So from my perspective, this is what happened. Now, Mitch McConnell, I'm not saying he's a member of the Klan because I don't know that to be true. I've never seen their records. You know, they are an organization. I'm not sure if they have tax exempt status. I do know that there are some racist organizations out there that claim religious status, or saying that they're not a cult, but they're a church, but they go ahead and get tax exempt status, and they're able to make lots and lots of donations, you know, to entities that will support their interests, you know, like the Federalist Society. You know, the Federalist Society say, oh, no, we want to uphold the Constitution. Well, you would think that they would be for democracy, but the Federalist Society is really for slavery. That's what they're for. Anytime you have Justice Scalia, a member of the Federalist Society, Brett Kavanaugh, a member of the Federalist Society, Amy, whatever her name is, the lady that's on the Supreme Court, a member of the Federalist Society, saying that you want to make sure that we follow the Constitution. Well, you don't want to give black people the right to vote free and fair in the elections. You don't want to get Mexicans over here when they've already been here. See, here's the problem. If you take what they did to Obama and you just remember how Mitch McConnell, when there were still 350 days left of the Obama presidency, when we had a vacancy at the Supreme Court level, okay? Now, from what's happening today, ladies and gentlemen, I need to always make sure I give you a constant reminder of why, when we see people like Kirsten Sinema in Arizona and McCarthy that are trying to block the voting rights, saying that they're going to stand firm and not do anything to move aside the filibuster, because they don't believe the filibuster should be waived at all when it comes to protecting voting rights. But they have no problem saying that we can go ahead and suspend the filibuster when it's about the debt ceiling. You hear that? Suspend the filibuster when it comes to whatever the GOP wants when they want to go on vacation. Whenever they want to go on Thanksgiving holiday, y'all remember Thanksgiving? That Thanksgiving, they moved aside the debt ceiling and waived the filibuster to get ready to go home for the Thanksgiving break. Nobody wanted to go have to be at Congress doing the work of the people. They wanted to eat their turkeys and celebrate the day where they slaughtered the natives and took all of their land and gave them diseases, and then enslaved the black people to go ahead and work the very land they stole from the natives. You know how they like the dark people. So when they want to go home on break, they will say, okay, we're going to waive the rules to make it to our benefit, because they have the power to do that based on the Constitution. So I'm not mad at them for doing that. But what I am mad at is this. When you are a member of the party of the week, now, I am a Democrat, even though I don't like the Democrats. The only Democrats I like are the ones that showed up yesterday. The only Democrats I like are the Stacey Abrams Democrats, the Warnock Democrats. You know, those Democrats where I get to see them on television standing up for voting rights. I like to see the president of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People come on and say, remember that scorecard that I told you all about 3 weeks ago, that the president of the Urban League, who is an Alpha Phi Alpha man, former mayor of New Orleans, Mark Morial, y'all remember him? Remember when I told you 3 weeks ago that I heard that he was giving a scorecard on all of the senators and all of the congressmen and women who have voted against voting rights and who have done things to stifle or forgotten how to help to do anything to move it forward. They did a score sheet. And what did they do? Yes, they did. They published it. Now, see, let me tell you something. Now, I have a particular fondness for Mayor Mark Morial, because guess what? I follow him down because he's always talking that talk and walking that walk. He was doing it. Did you know that his father was a former international president of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated? Yes, he was. I don't know if it was back in the 80s or whatever it was, but Mayor Mark Morial, who he ran for general president of Alpha Phi Alpha back in the day. And my dad, Ernest Davis, God rest his soul, who is in the Lambda chapter, which means you're a deceased Alpha Phi Alpha man. My dad had all of the leftover campaign materials from when former mayor of New Orleans, Mark Morial, ran for president of Alpha Phi Alpha. He was not successful because God had a bigger plan for Mayor Mark. Because guess what? Mark Morial went on to be the #1 mayor of New York. And now he is the president of the National Urban League when it's most pivotal. When black voting rights and brown voting rights and the poor people's voting rights are under attack, and we need a champion, a true champion of the people that's going to stand up and grade the people and not be fearful of what those congressmen and congresswomen are going to say about them. And they're not worried. See, Mark Morial was not worried about raising money. See, some of these Democrats at the congressional level and some of the senators, you know what, Cheryl, find out for me how many black senators there are or there were in 2020. You know, before Kamala used to be one of our black senators, okay? And then we had Cory Booker, our second black senator. Then we had the black senator that was on the GOP side. I forgot his name. And I believed we had one more black person on the GOP side. So there was like 2 black senators on the, Tim Scott. So we had 2 blacks on the Republican side and 2 blacks on the Democrat side. Well, here's the problem. Voting does not have a party. The vote right is not political. For a long time, voting rights has been seen as a black issue. And because it's seen as a black issue, since black people were the ones at the forefront giving up their lives and hanging from trees in the civil rights era, and they're still hanging from trees now, even in 2020 and 2021. But the black people are the face of the voting rights. And when you have white people feeling like they have had all these microaggressions against black people from the days of slavery and from the days that we were first emancipated. So when you get all these rights and the Jim Crow South is overcome by the desegregation of public schools, and then you get a black person on the Supreme Court, and then you have the words affirmative action. You know how you haven't really heard affirmative action very much? Well, we used to only talk about affirmative action. Now it's like a scary phrase because the white people use that as a means of saying now it was reverse discrimination. So they changed the language. So I was right. So Sherelle just confirmed, my producer just confirmed that I was right. There are 4 black senators. So let me tell you something. Now, I don't know why we have a CBC, a Congressional Black Caucus, and we don't have an SBC, the Senatorial Black Caucus. I don't care if it's only 4 of y'all in the club. In my Alpha Kappa Alpha line of pledging, when pledging was still a thing, I was number 4. Okay? That was my line number. Good things can happen in 4s, baby. So let me just tell you, this number 4 went on to be an international undergraduate member at large for my organization, sitting on the board of directors from a small line of 4 people. So you only need one person in that group of 4 that is able to stand still and make that speech that we need. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to stand in for the angels of God and the prayer warriors. All of the prayer warriors in Georgia that prayed all night when Stacey Abrams was praying to flip the seats in Georgia to be Democratic so they could get the very man who was going to be in the same seat as John Lewis, who passed away. And wasn't that the Ebenezer Baptist Church? Is it Ebenezer Baptist Church in, see, all this stuff is off the top of my head. You guys, I don't do any research for this. I just know these things. So I have to always confirm to make sure that I'm right. So he was the pastor of the historical black church in Atlanta. When John Lewis died, and then Warnock, the powers that be, and God said, John, it's time for you to run. He went ahead and ran for senator of Georgia. He ran to be a black senator in one of the most racist states. Yes, see, I was right. See? Sherelle just confirmed I'm right again. Maybe this is called Rightful Thursday, baby. So he ran for the same seat, and God blessed him indeed, because he sure did win. And it was without question. It was so pervasive that Donald Trump had to call down to the governor and the election official and say, you need to go find me 11,000 more votes from somewhere. I need you to go find 11,000 more votes. Can you go find him? The Peppers were like, where am I going to find him? Donald said, I don't know. But he said, let me go. If you can't find him, I got some people that's going to try to find him on January the 6th. So that's okay. So Donald Trump basically had a Jew and a black minister. Baby, let me tell you something. God sets up the scandal free for future greatness. Did you hear me? God sets up the scandal free for future greatness. Now, you would never think that a black man raised by a single parent household from a biracial family that smoked a little bit of bud when he was in high school, who had terrible grades when he was living in Hawaii, who didn't even want to be called Barack. He wanted to be called, what was it? Harvey? Something dumb. Barry. I don't know how they got Barry, for the white people to be relaxed, you know. So whenever you have Barack Obama, a freshman senator who lost a bid for Congress when he was running in in Illinois. But having that black wife, she was a praying wife. I'm assuming Michelle prays because I read her book and she said she did. I'm assuming she's telling me the truth. So that black wife prayed for that black man and said, baby, no, it doesn't matter that you lost. It doesn't matter that people say that you're just an activist. See, Barack was just an activist. Even though he graduated from Harvard Law School and was the editor of the first black editor of the Harvard Law Review ever in the history of Harvard, you know, he went back to go work for the people at the community centers. So he could have been making $400,000, $300,000 a year starting out with a great job at one of the big firms. You know, I did that. I took that route. I took the money route. When I was coming out of law school, I was too broke and too poor, and I was at Thurgood Marshall. So I took go out for the money. I went to the biggest, baddest law firm I could that paid the most. I was not trying to be for the people. I was trying to be for myself at that time. That's just the point of being true. Well, guess what? Barack, at the same time, listen, Barack is not that much older than me. I'm 49 years old. Barack is what, 60? He just had his 60th birthday? So when Barack came out of law school, he said, I just want to go ahead and work for the people. Well, when you go to Harvard Law School, obviously, you working for the people is different than somebody going to Thurgood Marshall and working for the people. Because somebody's going to fund your community center when you went to Harvard and say, oh, would you like a $100,000 donation to community center? And why don't you run for something? Why don't you run for some civil position? And that's exactly how it happened. So what happened? God made a way for Barack to go to the White House, being a freshman senator, a black man from a single parent household, to break all the chains, but he was scandal free. Remember, you didn't see any mistresses coming up on Barack. You didn't see any baby mama drama. You didn't see that he had any affairs. You saw a couple of times when he was trying to get too closey, smoochy, and hi to some ladies when he was in the Oval Office. And Michelle gave that side eye that was called one time on camera in the first 6 months of his presidency. We never saw him acting up again. Only a black wife could pull her husband right back in without even saying a word. So, scandal-free Barack, scandal-free Warnock. What can you say against a minister? If he is a senator right now, then he has got to be the face of the Democratic Party. Because guess what? If the face of the Democratic Party is the LGBTQIA community, the Democrats will lose every election across the land. Because that is exactly what the white racist people on the GOP side want us to do. They want to say, oh, it's not really about voting rights. It's about transgender rights. They want to confuse the issue. They want to go ahead and keep focusing on what's not important instead of saying what is important. So what did Warnock do? Warnock made a speech and stood up there on his own ground. I know Cory Booker has made speeches in the past. I watched them. I actually donated money to Cory Booker's presidential campaign. So I thought he was a great representative, but Cory had his own ambition that he wanted to make sure. So he was not going to ever stand the line and say, no, Barack, I'm not going to do this unless you do this. Because Barack Obama could have done voting rights and made it into law because he also had the House and the Senate when the time he was first president. But he dropped the ball. Yes, he did. You can be mad, but he dropped the ball. Because if he hadn't dropped the ball, we would not be here facing an existential threat to our ability to vote. So since Barack dropped the ball, but he was first black president, trying to go ahead and say, well, I don't want to do anything because I think that he still felt like they would kick him out of there. Now, I guarantee you this. If Mitch McConnell could have found a way to put Barack Obama out of office, he would have. I bet you the devil was working the whole time. When they said he was at his inauguration, and at the same time they were at this very, very well-known political restaurant where all the senators and all the higher ends go and have lunch, they were plotting against Barack while he was getting inaugurated, okay? Back in January 19th of 2009 at the inauguration. Check my fact on that date. But, so at the swearing in, they were trying to figure out a way to get him out. Well, it looks like if you all don't pay attention to what is going on in the country, to what has been happening. Now, systematically, the GOP conservatives have gone state by state by state, changing. Where was it? Well, let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I was right again. So I said January the 19th of 2009 when he was sworn in. I arrived in D.C. on January the 18th. He was sworn in on January the 20th because I have all the shirts. But anyway, it was still Barack being the president. That's when he had all the power. We're in the middle of the same type of regime where we got a Democratic president. He controls the House and the Senate with our party, but he waited too long sitting on his hands, worrying about the things that don't matter. And now at the 11th hour, he is asking on the week eve of Christmas Eve week for us to go ahead and shove through voting rights. Well, it's not going to happen. And guess what? With the two white Democrats, now I'm not saying this to be racist. I need to point out their color because race matters in this particular conversation. If you're offended, I'm not apologizing to you. If you're offended, you need to hear this. Because if you're offended, then that means I'm speaking to you. The white people on the Democratic Senatorial Committee, Kirsten Sinema, who is an Arizona Democrat representing... Shut up, Siri. So she is an Arizona senator who is a lesbian. Okay? You got a white lesbian standing in the way of equal rights. Now, I don't know if y'all heard this conversation that I had with y'all about 6 weeks ago, where I said in the Democratic Party, there are people that are racist in the Democratic Party against black people and brown people. The white Democrats at the top. Now, I'm going somewhere with this now. I don't want to scare y'all off, but I'm about to tell you. The white Democrats at the top want to maintain power. Remember, they had to suffer through 8 years of a black president. Now, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, I'm sure that they were like, they wanted somebody who could be a change maker and the hope agent. And Barack Obama was the only one that had the good face. He was handsome. He was the right height. He had the right wife, the right pedigree, the right schools. He had no scandals. Well, they were like, okay, Barack, but did you realize what happened to Barack once he actually got the victory? Once the white people put him in office, with the help of all the black voters, they put him in office and then they shackled him immediately, saying, okay, this is what you're going to do. We only want you to talk about healthcare, Barack. And I'm sure Barack was like, but I told everybody I was going to get the voting rights codified into law. Well, yeah, but that's not on the agenda first. We need to put Americans back to work, and we need to make sure you get reelected. So the good white people in Barack's ear told Barack, don't worry about this 4 years. We need to make sure you get reelected in the second set. Well, when you do that, and you are only concerned about the second and being reelected, then you waste your first 4 years, or actually the first 2 years that you're in power, to actually say, instead of me being selfish and worrying about being a 2-term president, I will be a 1-term change maker like Abraham Lincoln. Okay? Abraham Lincoln was a 1-termer, ladies and gentlemen. He knew very well if he went ahead and divided the country and stood up like Senator Warnock, that he probably would not be reelected, okay? And he probably would have half the country that wanted to coup d'etat the U.S. Constitution and the government, okay? Which is exactly the same thing as Donald Trump and the January 6th insurrectionists. You know, all that husband and wife couple, all of those people that are now being indicted and put in prison for their participation. Have you noticed how in the GOP, it's the wealthy white Republicans that are basically classist against the lower class white Republicans that are saying, you guys that already have felony charges, all y'all people that have already been to jail a few times, all y'all radicals out there, all y'all QAnons, we're going to let y'all be the radical ones that want to go to war to break up the regime and to overtake the government. We saw that proved very well in the text messages. You know, I was talking to you about the messages that were revealed or the discovery that was asked for, and Mark Meadows refusing to go ahead and submit to the test, to the questioning. But I reminded y'all that way back at the beginning of this, Mark Meadows turned over 1,000 pages of documents that was initially requested by the January 6th committee. So it's kind of like you already turned over the discovery. So now you're saying you don't want to testify. So now maybe we should actually read all those documents that you submitted and fine tooth them. And maybe we should look and see exactly what they say. Oh, look, they found a whole bunch of people's names, a whole bunch of text messages. You had congressmen and women buying in and trying to assist the January 6th insurrectionists. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that what happened in the GOP and what the GOP congressmen, congresswomen, senators, and the president bought into everybody with the exception and exclusion of the Vice President, Mike Pence. Now, see, I don't know if I can't throw all of the Republicans into the same bandwagon because those insurrectionists wanted to throw Mike Pence up into the galleys as well. They wanted to hang him from a tree. They were ready to execute him because if you recall, the electoral votes have to be confirmed by the Vice President of the United States. So Donald Trump's faction was of the belief that all they had to do was get Mike Pence not to certify the Electoral College votes that were being marched in. You know how they had the brown boxes that they actually marched them in ceremoniously. So, let's just take Texas. All the electoral votes for Texas go to Donald Trump. So that basically they were saying, Pence, you need to be the highest ranking person as the vice president to say that I'm not going to certify this. Well, Mike Pence needed to be defended. Mike Pence was running for his life. Mike Pence was in hiding. And what should happen is that the January 6th committee should subpoena former Vice President Mike Pence to testify as to his feelings of terror and need for protection when he had to have his Secret Service hide him in a bunker because the GOP insurrectionists, the treasonists, had a lynch mob coming to try to find him to kill him, to carry out the wishes of the president. Now, if you were paying attention to some news that dropped late last night, I want to say at 11:55 p.m., right over into folding over to 12:06 a.m., when all these messages came out, what I want to know is how, knowing all of these discovery documents that have been supplied from Mark Meadows, why have we not seen a public announcement from the Justice Department, with all the cameras blaring, what Donald Trump would have done to Hillary Clinton if he saw a whole bunch of text messages where she was trying to help the insurrectionists figure out where to go in the Capitol, how to hold the line and where to show up. You have people that have that information, but we have not seen anybody issue a subpoena to Mike Pence to testify against his own party that they were actually committing an insurrection, that they actually were trying to do a coup d'etat, which is exactly what happened when Hitler decided to take over the democratic government in Germany. Okay, y'all don't remember that? Hitler ran for Congress. I'm going to call it Congress. He ran for Congress. He didn't win. Okay, he was beaten. The person who beat him was a liberal. He was a nationalist conservative for the German Reich. That's what he was thinking. So he said 2 years later, he said, I'm going to run again. But in that 2 years, I'm going to make sure I spit my venom and nationalist beliefs out to everybody who's like-minded like me. Let me go find those secret Klansmen out there. Let me go ahead and put something. If Hitler had Facebook, baby, Instagram on Hitler would have had a sickle and a little bitty mustache saying, follow me, follow me, follow me. It was not QAnon. It was Hitler-anon. That's how Hitler, for 2 years, was able to get all the crazies in the underground clan in Germany to say, guess what? I'm going to run for office again. And I'm going to run on a nationalist theme. And I want y'all to make them understand that Germany is for the Germans. And if you're a Jew, you need to leave. Well, when you start talking to that, make Germany great again, hence, who does our guy take a page out of the textbook? He loves dictatorships. He loves authoritarian regimes. Trump elevated Putin. He elevated Kim Jong-un. He elevated Kim Jong-il. He basically elevated the tenets of Hitler. You had the dumb fool, Ted Cruz, up there trying to defend the congressman and congresswoman at their hearings for the January 6th committee. What's the crazy lady's name that got kicked off all the committees? The QAnon lady that is a representative, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Is that her? I want to make sure I'm saying her name right. Marjorie Taylor Greene was the QAnon Trump supporter who was elected to Congress, who now has been stripped of all of her rights. But she don't need her rights to be on those committees. She didn't care about those committees. She only cares about social media. And the Republicans have realized Barack Obama won with social media in 2008. President Trump won with social media in 2016. So now the GOP is using their social media in a negative way to run in 2022. And I think it's actually working because you don't see the ACLU filing. Now I'm gonna say something. You don't see the ACLU filing lawsuits against Marjorie Taylor Greene for discrimination. You don't see that. You only saw the ACLU filing lawsuits representing the illegal people here to get $500,000 from the taxpayers of the United States to pay for the illegals that were split apart by their families. Well, when you have Democrats doing that kind of number and you have the American Civil Liberties Union, you have to wonder, why wasn't the ACLU filing all those lawsuits for voting rights? The ACLU is basically all the law firms that do pro bono work trying to fight for civil rights. Well, why weren't all these lawsuits? Why is the NAACP the only group that's filing lawsuits on behalf of the voter rights protection? Why is the ACLU asking all the black people and all the brown people and all the disabled people to go ahead and donate money to them, because they send you money trying to hit them up all the time? Why are they asking for all that money when the only people that they're trying to defend are the illegals? I'm sorry. So the ACLU, who is it run by? I bet there are no black people at the top, hence the need for the NAACP, hence the need for the National Urban League, hence the need for people like former mayor of New Orleans, Mark Morial, who's the president, hence the need for people like Senator Warnock, who is now an alpha man, who is now the senator from Georgia. We need actual people that are going to be black men and black women that are going to actually stand up and not worry about the white people getting upset in the Democratic Party. Because guess what? Joe Biden didn't give a dadgum about what black voter rights, whether black voter rights mattered up until yesterday. Okay? When Diane Zamore has been talking about this, I've been dogging Joe Biden out for the last 9 weeks that I've been on the air. I've dogged him out consistently for failing black people and not doing what he promised he would do by students and getting rid of that student loan mess and not extending the protection for people that are being kicked out of their homes at the end of the HUD protection. You know what I'm talking about. And then you have them not protecting the voting rights, and Joe Biden only cared about what the white people at the top of the Democratic Party. You know, Nancy Pelosi's worth about $50 million. Google it. She's rich. Joseph Biden, he's a millionaire. Google it. Chuck Schumer, millionaire. Google it. Warnock, not a millionaire. Google it. Cory Booker, not a millionaire. Google it. The actual ones that stand up for activism. See, Cory Booker his main one was social justice when it came to criminal justice reform. So Senator Booker focused on criminal justice reform prior to him running for election, for president. So when you have Cory Booker being the only senator standing up, making speeches for criminal justice reform at a time when Donald Trump was the president, okay, and Kamala Harris was going to be running for president, Cory Booker, and then when she became a candidate, Kamala Harris, both made speeches. Do y'all remember the last time the Senate was going to entertain voter protection? Kamala was not the vice president yet. Joe Biden had not been elected and Donald Trump was still the president. What had happened was Kamala and Cory Booker both left their presidential campaign trails to step off of the campaign trail and go back to the Senate floor and make resounding speeches to an almost empty Senate chamber about the need for the protection of the voter protection and to do away to have a federal anti-lynching. Remember that? The anti-lynching bill? Remember that? Cory Booker and Kamala Harris, 2 of the 4 black senators. So we should say the only 2 black senators representing the Democratic Party were the only ones that stood up to get a federal anti-lynching bill put into place. The only 2. They couldn't even get the 2 black people on the other side of the aisle to walk across the aisle to say that black people should not be lynched, okay? So if you have 2 black Republican senators who won't even stand up for the only time in the history of the United States of America where we needed just those 2 extra votes from the other side because the GOP would not get away with the filibuster for voting rights. And because of that, there was going to be okay, there's no longer any more discussion on this. Mitch McConnell was like, bye. You don't even have enough votes for this. Bye. When they realized they had, and I'm not going to call them coons. When they had those 2 black senators on their side, when they knew that they had them by the hook and shackle and noose around their neck. Well, if you want to be elected again, Tim Scott, if you want to be elected again, other black men that I cannot remember the name to because you're GOP black man senator on their side and you did not vote for voting rights because I forgot your name. So if those two black men could not even think about the black men that used to hang from the weeping willow trees that, you know, Billie Holiday sung about, Nina Simone sung about, all the activists, Stokely Carmichael, Martin Luther King. If you had 4 black senators and all they needed was 2 black votes from the right Republican side, they spent all their time, all the white Democrats spent all their time on what didn't matter instead of trying to do something to force those 2 black people, Republicans, to their side. You know what? And now look at us again. So the federal anti-lynching bill was tanked. So it's still legal to lynch black people. And what happens? Fast forward, Kamala's now the vice president. But we got Senator Warnock. We got Warnock and I don't even know if anybody else made a big old speech because the only one that made any difference was Warnock. He makes his speech. But you got those 2 black Republicans over there on the GOP side. The Democrats are so worried about the white lesbian Democrat, Kirsten Sinema, and Kevin McCarthy, or who is it? Kevin McCarthy, the white guy, whoever it is, trying to stop the voting rights by not setting aside the filibuster. I think that all the black people should cry racism. You know, they don't like for us to pull the black card, but you need to pull it when it's time. It is racist when you have a white woman, blonde hair, blue-eyed lesbian Democrat who's saying that voting rights, equal protection for all is not important enough to suspend the filibuster. And what the filibuster means is you're supposed to continuously talk for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours to solve something long enough to where time runs out to discuss anything on that bill. Well, when Mr. Smith went to Washington in the black and white days, they explained it to you. Joe Manchin, thank you. My husband's in the studio today, ladies and gentlemen. Since he's that smart graduate of the University of Texas and I graduated from Texas A&M, he went ahead and told me it's Joe Manchin. Thank you, baby. Anyway, so we got Senator Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema basically saying, we don't like you black folks. Black people, you can wait in line. Rosa Parks, stay on sitting at the back of the bus. Your equal protection rights are not that important. I care more about the trees and the grass and the infrastructure than I do about black people, human capital. Your voting rights are not that important. And guess what? We're so powerful in our white democratic regime rule that whether or not black and brown people make up a majority of our party, we're going to keep the wealthy white people at the top. So long as the GOP has 2 white people on the Democratic side that they know will stand the line. Because guess what? This is nothing new. This is nothing new. Manchin and Kirsten Sinema have been saying this since May. In May, when they were asked by a journalist, you all are saying that you're not going to allow anything to go for a vote at the Senate, and you're not going to throw your support behind any bill, namely, specifically, the equal protection bill for voting rights protection. You guys would not set aside the filibuster. They both responded back in May. Well, they're going to have to find another way around it. When actually, really, you know what? The only way around that filibuster, Kirsten Sinema, you're racist, is to have 60 votes. Is the only way around needing their 2 votes. So you're not going to get 60 votes if you can't even get 52. So they know good and well that they are now what needs to happen? All the black people in the Democratic Party and all of the white people who are not the racist Democrats in the Democratic Party, because, you know, there's a lot of racists in there too. You know, there are white gay racists against black gay racists in the Democratic Party. The white racists act like they're so much better in the gay community than the black gays. They got their own situation going on. And now look at our Democratic Party. The Republicans smell blood in the water. They know that they don't have to worry about voting rights because it ain't going to happen. And they're trying to run out the clock on December 31st, 2021, so that when we roll over to January, we're in now 2022, and they're going to try everything they can for the GOP to make sure that all of the voter protections that people had are wiped out across the different states, just in time for November, so they can say, well, in Texas, we know y'all ain't gonna be able to vote. Especially not in black Houston, Harris County. We y'all got a black mayor. You got a lesbian district attorney who's a white Democrat. You know, see, Kim Ogg is the Harris County district attorney. She used to be a Republican. Yes, she did, ladies and gentlemen. She was very, very big in the Republican Party. And then she was smart enough to know that the writing was on the wall, that in Harris County, there was going to be a regime change. So she flipped parties and she ran as a Democrat at the time when she believed that the Democrats were going to take over the Houston area, and Houston being the largest voting block, the largest county in the state of Texas. So that means so goes Harris County. We can try to hope that so goes the rest of the state. But they have Kim Ogg as a Democrat. She's a white lesbian. Can somebody please tell Kim Ogg to pick up the darn phone and call her fellow Democrat lesbian Kirsten Sinema and say, B, what the heck is wrong with you, girl? Don't you know all these black people out here got me elected to Harris County district attorney out here, the first white woman lesbian to be the DA? Do you know we had a white lesbian mayor? We could have, before we had a black mayor. Yeah, Democrat, white lesbian. What was her name? I forgot it. We had a white lesbian Democrat who was fighting for the rights for voting. Okay. Now, she also tried to do some crazy stuff that I didn't really agree with the whole bathroom laws, trying to make everybody that owns a business flip over their toilet seats and stuff. That's why I said she had to go home. That's why I was like, I don't want her telling me how to run my business. Well, she went home. So she should have been able, the white lesbian former mayor of Houston should call down, and she and Kim Ogg, the current lesbian district attorney in the city of Houston, who ran for re-election and won, and she ran against a black woman, y'all, and she beat her. And you know, Carvana Cloud ran for district attorney against Kim Ogg, and Carvana Cloud was actually Anise Parker was the lesbian lady's name. I'm trying to tell y'all. Thank you for my husband, Eric Moore, being in the studio today, because he's doing better than my producer, Sherelle. He's able to find things at a moment's notice. You see, that's why it's Bring Your Husband to Work Day, ladies and gentlemen. And I married the right man. So Anise Parker was so busy trying to get the transgender rights. Well, I understand her apply for getting the bathrooms changed over. Well, I was in disagreement with that. But at that time, all the black ministers in Houston were like, oh no, we don't want to change the bathroom bill, because we believe in Jesus Christ and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, I agree with y'all too. But what happened? Oh no, the LGBTQIA community started pumping money into the candidates' coffers of all these black people that were running for office, and said, well, you know, y'all Christians over there, we're not going to support you unless you change your mind on how you want the bathroom bill. Well, what happened to the fake Christian Democrat blacks? They decided to go ahead and say, well, Jesus is not that important. I don't care about my Christian values. I used to say, yeah, no to the bathroom, but yeah, yes to the bathroom now. Well, here's what needs to happen. It seems it's always so easy for the white people to get the black people to flip when it's for their benefit. You see, the trans people were able to get the black ministers to flip in Houston. They were able to get all the black people, all the black congressmen and women to flip, to say, okay, yeah. And then what happened? Now, God put in place Senator Warnock in Georgia. I don't really think Senator Warnock's going to be able to, he's going to be the true to his word, not wavering under pressure senator. See, we need somebody who's in power that will actually adequately represent black people. And what is happening now in the United States is exactly what happened in Bermuda. I'm going to give you a little bit of a history lesson. Remember but I'm going to go ahead and break for time, and then I'm going to talk to you about the colonizing that the British did of Bermuda, where the black people over there in Bermuda are trying to fight for their right to go ahead and get the European rule out of their country. The same way where we need people to speak up for the Bermudans is the same way we need people to speak up for the black people. And I think that we have that in Senator Warnock. We're going to go ahead and cut. Yeah, they can get mad at me all they want to. Mm-hmm. You guys, yes, this is what we need to be playing. Turn it up. Y'all hear that? Listen. You have to listen to Nina Simone on the break. See, while Sherelle was working on the beats in the music committee, Eric was over here working on fact finding. So Eric is actually going to join my screen for the next segment and be on air. Come on, sit over here. You're going to bring your chair over here. So I'm going to show you all, so Eric doesn't know this. Now we're going to do a little bit of a segment, because I've been throwing out, I'm going to talk a lot about what is at stake here that we have at risk if we don't do something to make sure that black people join forces. Now, Latinos out there, you have your own stuff to fight for, okay? So y'all need to go ahead and fight for your immigration rights yourselves, all right? Now, I know that you're not going to live to hear this, but I'm going to say this when we're back on the air to show you that I really mean what I say. Black people, Nina Simone, okay? She's singing the song, and Sherelle's going to have to actually play this when we're back on the air, because black people have championed civil rights for 100 years, all right?
Second song?
Yes. I want you to play Weeping Willow Trees while I'm so you're going to start off. So this is how I have to set up so y'all can see. You're going to start off with this, and then I'm going to talk about it. But then you're going to, when I tell you, I'm going to have you fade. When I do my hand like this, fade, and I want you to go straight into Weeping Willow Trees.
I don't know, okay?
You know you can't spell it.
Or find us a good song by Billie Holiday. Let me see. So we need to talk about activism now. All right. I'm going to change my view so you all can see my husband who's joining in. I need you to turn his microphone on.
Yeah.
Can he talk, or can he be heard mine?
No, he can talk on that one.
And they can be able to hear him when he talks.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I want him in my shot. So I'm going to scoot this back a little bit. Go ahead and go back on the air.
You're tuned into It's Debatable with attorney
Say, Eric,
Diane Zamora.
hi, everybody. Can you all see me?
It's time for Tip the Scales, where we dive into the top social injustice of the week. Let's get into it.
It's not what I want to hear. So go to, who are you going to do first?
What's called Nina Simone.
Okay. I got to set the mood. You got to set the mood. You can't, now, I love Jay-Z.
You ready? You're on.
So we are back, and, I brought my husband in so we could have a conversation so you all can hear a black man's perspective of the importance of the voting rights. And, if you can hear the background, turn that up just a little bit more. I'm going to be talking over the song so that you can hear that this is Nina Simone, and she is singing about what we need. Turn it up a little bit louder.
Because I got to make sure it's not too loud on the air.
So we're going to make sure that you all can understand the importance of black people now banding together. Banding together now, because I said earlier that everyone in prior segments, every other minority group has been able to jump on the black bandwagon. Okay. I'm saying the black bandwagon when it comes to women's rights, equal access to the courts in the criminal justice space, equal rights to education, equal rights in housing, equal rights in employment, and making sure that our voter protection rights are being able to be protected. So when you have all of these rights under attack, and you hearken back to how the conversations about the need to protect these rights started in the first place, you have to hearken back to the 1940s and the 1950s. In the 1940s and 50s, when you had Black Harlem being at an all-time most profitable, you had Joe Louis, you had all of the greats, you had Muhammad Ali, you had Malcolm X, you had Martin Luther King. When you had all the civil rights activists standing at the forefront, they were not trying to run for president of the United States. They were not trying to run for public office. So what we need now is a call to action for those people who are not running for president. Those people who are not worried about can they run for something later on. Because it seems like what happens is we're getting into a space where you have the black people that have high ambition are running for office. They win those positions and get elected to positions of power. And then once they get the power, they start shaking hands in the back rooms. They start realizing that donors, high impact donors, come with a cost. You know, I ran for federal office. I ran for United States Congress. I was unsuccessful. I ran as a Democrat in a always held Republican seat where you had one of the most racist congressman ever to lead District 22, who actually was incarcerated and went to jail during his tenures and was representing the GOP out there in Sugar Land. Well, there's always been, I ran in that district because I was not running for the hopes of one day being some political mighty mouse. I was only running because everyone else was failing to say what needed to be said without fear of the repercussions, without fear of who doesn't like it. Somebody with nuts big enough to do it needed to speak out for black people when it looked like the first black president of the United States was too scared to speak specifically for black people. Sheila Jackson Lee, as a congresswoman, she spoke out for reparations. She did. But she was also very ambitious. So when it came down to holding her vote back or holding her support back from Barack Obama when she needed to, she didn't do it. When it came time for every other black congressperson to say, look here, Barack, Barry, whichever one you want to be called, we're not going to support anything you do. We're not going to support this healthcare bull crap. Yes, we know Americans are dying, but more black people died under the oppression of white America from slavery, from 400 years of oppression. More black people have died and continue to die under the racist regime called the United States of American government. Okay. And when we elect black people to offices and position of power that should be able to speak up for us, we have the CBC. They try to do all they can, but they never held the line like Kirsten Sinema. Well, see, when you see a white woman, lesbian, saying that black voter protective rights, the black equal rights votes are not important because her white, blonde hair, blue-eyed female self was able to get elected to be a Democratic senator representing the great state of Arizona. You know, the great state of John McCain, the Republican state? Well, she wants to keep the Republicans happy. The only way to keep the Republicans happy and to keep the white racist Democrats happy about electing a lesbian to represent them at the United States Senate, if they think that it's okay for them to have equal rights for gay people to be represented, but they don't think it's okay for voter protection to be the right that's protected for all the black and brown people in the land, it's because they don't care about the black and brown people. They are using the Democratic Party as a means to an end. Certain white people that are in the Democratic Party just want power. They don't care about the lowly rights of the underground. They need the black and brown people to be the ground workers. You know how they do when they're ready for the phone banking? You know, the worst job you can ever do in politics is knocking door to door. Nobody likes to answer telemarketers on the phone. Nobody wants to see somebody they don't know knocking on their door. But you always see the black and brown folks and all the students and all the poor people wearing some rich white person's campaign t-shirts, knocking door to door. Okay, please vote for so-and-so. Please vote for so-and-so. But you don't ever see the same amount of finance behind the black person's campaign that goes into the person that wants to protect voting rights. When black people run on a campaign of protecting voting rights, they don't win. When they run on a campaign of protecting gay rights, protecting the rights of illegal Mexicans who come over here, or illegal Hondurans who come over here, or illegal Haitians to come over here, to protect the social infrastructure, they'll do that. But black people will not volunteer and go door to door for a black person that's just running as an activist, to be the change maker, to be the one person that's not scared of Mitch McConnell, we need somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene in blackface. If Marjorie Taylor Greene was a black woman, we would have all the voter protection rights already written in stone. Women would have their reproduction rights already protected. If the craziness of Marjorie Taylor Greene on the GOP side is shoring up the GOP base to get ready for election in 2022. She doesn't care that she was stripped of all of her House committees. She don't care because she's a gangster activist. She's standing up for the rights that she believes in. Like me. Like the kind of representation that we need. We need people who are not interested in getting elected to a second term in their own district. See, Kirsten Sinema is doing crappy across national Democratic polls, but she is doing stellar. When you look at her poll numbers for her base in her district out there in Arizona, oh baby, her numbers are through the roof, and her campaign finance reports show that she is raising money with those white Democrats who love that she is not trying to give the blacks, the Mexicans, and the illegals the right to vote. Do you hear that? The white rich Republicans in Arizona and the white rich Democrats love Kyrsten Sinema because she is keeping the lower man down. And she is their blonde-haired, blue-eyed person that's going to stand the line, who is not affected, who doesn't seem bothered because they keep on pumping money into her campaign coffers. What we need to do is find out who is making all the donations to Kyrsten Sinema, who is making all of the donations to, what is his name? What'd you say his name was? To Mr. Manchin. To Joe Manchin. And so we need to find out who's donating to them. Are there any people on the are there any people from the Federalist Society that are trying to give a donation to somebody else to go ahead and donate into what they're talking about? We have to always remember, black people own the Civil Rights Bill and the Civil Rights Acts. Yes, they do. I don't care what anybody has to say. I'm not running for anything. I already ran and lost. And I decided not to run at all in this election because I want to be a truth sayer and call everybody to the carpet. So every time I see a black person that's telling another black person to go volunteer and knock on doors for yet another white person to lead the Democratic Party, stop telling a black woman to knock on doors for Beto O'Rourke out here in Texas. Okay, I want somebody to win. But I need Beto O'Rourke to come out and make a statement if you want to run for governor of Texas, when you know very well that there are more blacks and Mexicans in Texas than there are white people. But you're a white man running who has the LGBTQIA community right at your win. So they're giving you all the support that they need, just like Pete Buttigieg got right up there in office. Yes, he did. Now, I don't know why Stacey Abrams was not good enough to be appointed to be this transportation secretary, because let me tell you something about politics. Now, I have a strong feeling that Stacey Abrams is more like Nyanza Moore than Pete Buttigieg. Let me tell you why. Pete Buttigieg is a Democrat. Nyanza Moore is a Democrat. Stacey Abrams is a Democrat. All right? Beto O'Rourke is a Democrat. Kyrsten Sinema is a Democrat. Do you hear me? Now, Kyrsten Sinema, lesbian, white, more GOP kind of Democrat. Me and Stacey Abrams are the truth teller Democrats that say things that people don't like. We speak truth to power no matter who likes it, no matter who doesn't like it. And the reason why we need people like Stacey Abrams to be in a position to where once we saw Stacey single-handedly win the presidential election, I said, I don't care if you were knocking on doors for 10,000 days in your own state. We all know that every state is its own entity, but everything rested on Georgia. Everything. No matter what Texas did, no matter what California did, no matter what Ohio or Michigan, they always say, so goes so-and-so, so goes. No, so goes Georgia. So goes the presidency. So I believe that maybe, because we all remember Stacey Abrams was one of the candidates that was in line to be nominated to be on the Vice President Biden's ticket. But did y'all hear her? She's a big mouth like I am. When they were saying, when all the journalists were in her face saying, Stacey, are you considering, being entertained to run for vice president with Biden? She did a Nyanza move, which probably messed her up with the good white people in the Democratic Party. She said the first thing in her mind. She was like, no, I don't run to be second in line for anything. Yes, ma'am. Yes, she did. Oh, I was like, oh, Jesus, Stacey, you said the wrong thing. Now the people are not going to like you. They're going to believe that you're power hungry, saying that you deserve to be the president. You were saying that you should be Joe Biden and not him. Stacey said what we all knew. And yes, Stacey could have ran for president. I would have knocked on 400 million trillion doors, not even in my district, to vote for her. Okay. Now, because Stacey's a big mouth, Joe Biden thought, oh, I can't keep you in line. Okay. Since you'd rather be the president, well, let me go on down the list. What about you? They had the mayor of Atlanta. You know, the black girl, the real cute one? I forgot her name. What's her name? Whatever. Either way, she was a big mouth too. Oh yeah. She was a big mouth truth teller. The former mayor, the mayor of Atlanta, who said, you know what, I'm not even going to run for re-election. People were trying to groom her to run for other stuff, but she was an activist. So she was like, I've done what I can for the city of Atlanta. I helped Stacey get Atlanta and everybody in Georgia to get the presidency. So now I'm tired. I want to go be with my family, because she's an activist and she knows what's at stake. Well, President Biden chose Kamala because he knew Kamala was good for the people. Kamala, and let me tell you something. I voted. People say keep your votes private. I don't care about privacy. I voted for Biden, Harris. Yes, I did. I bought a whole bunch of paraphernalia. And because she happens to be an Alpha Kappa Alpha woman just like me, and I'm a silver, I was on the International Board of Directors. Do you hear me? I was elected as an undergraduate to be the international undergraduate member at large. So while I was working in the boardroom for my sorority, don't you know how good it felt for me to watch an Alpha Kappa Alpha woman to graduate from an HBCU and then be nominated for vice presidency? I said, okay, I don't care if Kamala has to shut up. Kamala needed to shut her mouth. Because see, I already knew that Kamala was a truth teller gangster for the people. Because remember, she was the one who said, I'm speaking. Remember that? It wasn't RBG. Now, we love God rest her soul. But Kamala, when she questioned Brett Kavanaugh, y'all remember? She was on the Justice Committee. Y'all forgot. Kamala was a gangster. That's why we loved her. But now that she's in with the good white people at the top, now that she's Madam Vice President, they keep a muzzle on her. And they won't let us see her out in the forefront. We all wanted to get more and more and more Kamala, but they got her hiding. Never mind that they know that Stacey Abrams and Kamala Harris are the only reasons that white man Joe Biden got to get all the black people in the United States of America, except for Tim Scott. You know, there's always two Republicans at the top who did not want to vote for lynching, for anti-lynching bill. So you cannot even consider them as, you know what? There were only two black people. Even though we had black colored skin people as senators, there was only two blacks, Corey and Kamala. They were the only ones speaking up for the anti-lynching bill because the two blacks over there on the other side, they didn't. So when you think about that, when the white people got what they needed from black voters of America, you see where I'm going with this? When the white Democrats got what they needed, the sweat that goes into running for office, the time away from your family, the overall expense in liquid cash, the amount of money raising, the amount of campaign speeches, the amount of standing by your principles and having everybody behind you come and pull every word you've ever said, every conversation you've ever had and put it up there. What did you have to say about this? And wait for you to backtrack? Well, guess what? I was not a backtracker. I stuck to what I said. And they asked me, what do you think about, it seems like you're the only one that seems to be anti-bathroom bill. When all the other Democrats have accepted this as that should be, I said, well, I'm not all the other Democrats. When I vote for something, I vote for a principle. So I don't have time to waste time on Democrats that are worried about being reelected. I was just saying, I just want to run for Congressional 22 to get all these racist policies out of the federal government. That's all. That's all. So I never backtracked. So see, Stacey Abrams didn't backtrack. Kamala didn't backtrack, but they put a muzzle on Kamala. They couldn't put a muzzle on Stacey Abrams. But guess what? Now all of a sudden, voting rights was only important as of yesterday to Joe Biden. When Joe Biden realized that maybe some of the Democrats were going to now start I'm only speaking to the black Democrats, y'all. I don't want y'all to feel like I'm racist. I'm just supporting I'm supporting the people that look like me. Just like the gay people support the gay people. The trans people support the trans. The Latinos, well, they like to betray their own kind. They like to send their own people, the illegals, back to deportation. So I don't know what's going on with them. But I'm the black person that doesn't mind speaking up for black people. And I feel like when Joe Biden put a white gay man, nothing's wrong with white gay men, but when he put his white gay adversary that ran against him for president as the transportation secretary, knowing that he was going to have the most massive, far-reaching transportation bill to ever come across this country, asking for $2 trillion, then that person would get a whole lot of free airtime every time they made a speech. All the camera crews, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, the same way the media always gave a lot of free coverage to Donald Trump. Well, with Joe Biden being the white man that he is, and Pete Buttigieg being the white gay man that he is, married to another man, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that if you're one of those kind of people. But I'm just saying this. If you put Pete Buttigieg in a position where you know that he gets free camera time, then obviously you're grooming him for something. Are you possibly considering that you want to replace Kamala with Pete Buttigieg? Try it if you want to, Joe Biden. Try it. Try it. And let me tell you something. I will try my own means to figure out a way to go ahead and get all the black people to leave the Democratic Party and vote against you and just put up somebody independently. Maybe Kamala needs to run for president against you if you decide to run for re-election. But that's exactly what happens to the black people. Once you get in the position of power, they put a muzzle on you, and they don't give you anything that will give you camera time. When the press was saying negative things about Kamala, I didn't see Joe Biden saying anything to come to her defense when he knows that was his running mate. It seems like a situation where Donald Trump betrayed Mike Pence on Insurrection Day. Well, guess what? Mike Pence was running for his life thinking, dang, Donald, I thought you had my back. No, Mike, you got to go. Well, now you see Mike Pence on an island all by himself. But guess what? Donald Trump is still using the media. And guess what? Kirsten Sinema is getting a whole lot of free airtime, a whole lot of free camera time about standing the line against black people and voter protections. So what does that mean for all the white racists in the Democratic Party? They're going to throw more money into her campaign coffers to make sure that they get other Democrats that be like, you know what? We just need to keep on cooking the voter rights protection down the ball. Kick that ball. We've been kicking the ball down the field since 1963 to make sure it wouldn't become a permanent part of the Constitution, to make sure it would not become a guaranteed protected right for black people and brown people and all the underserved. If you guys keep on giving your votes to people out there that are not worthy of your votes, stop voting on your party and start voting on your person. The person that you are. Do not vote for people who are putting in policies that are against the very rights that affect you. Women, I'm not even going to say white people. I'm just going to use the black people. When 2 black men senators on the GOP side don't vote in favor of the anti-lynching bill when they know they only need 2 votes to kick it down the line. That's just shameful. That is exactly why black people have had such a hard time being successful, because you see what happened to Black Wall Street. Black people like to say, oh, it's the white people that kept it down. No, it's not white people that kept black people down. No. We had the Civil Rights Act. We had the vote. It was up to us to make sure that we're not letting the wrong black people lead black people, because we have politicians leading black people when we need the activists leading the black people. We need Mayor Mark Morial to run for president. We need the national president of the NAACP to run for president. We need Senator Warnock to run for president. We need Stacey Abrams and Kamala Harris to run for president. We need to stop letting them tell us who to vote for when we are the ones with the most power. We must stop making other people make us feel bad. They're essentially gaslighting black people, saying it's wrong to say, what about black rights? Remember Black Power? Well, Black Power meant black economic power. That's what the Black Panther was created for, to support the black economic power. They wanted equal housing, equal opportunity at their jobs. This very same things that the Black Panther was asking for back 40, 50, 30 years ago is the same thing that black people are asking for now. And when you have black senators not even want to champion that, and when you have Joe Biden not trying to get rid of the filibuster, what is so important about the filibuster to where it can only be erased when it comes to debt and money? So is money more important than black people? We're going to go ahead and cut to commercial, because, I mean, that's the balance on tipping the scales. Money outweighs blacks. And so that's the same way that Saudi Arabia and Osama bin Laden, okay? We knew where Osama bin Laden was for 20 years before he was caught, captured, and killed by Barack. We let him hide in plain sight because Americans were getting too much oil money from the Saudis. Just when the Saudis decided to go ahead, the Saudi prince decided to order the dismemberment of a U.S. citizen on foreign soil when he was at the embassy and come out in a body bag and a duffel bag. And then you got Jared Kushner going over there overseas last week, going to have a meeting with him, hanging out. See, when it's in the best interest of the financial needs of the white people in power, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, they will say and turn a blind eye and be mum's the word when it comes to injustices or social injustices. If you need to chop somebody up and put them in a body bag and carry them out in a duffel bag on embassy soil, where they said they were going in for an embassy meeting where they should have been neutral and protected, and they never seen again, and then the United States still does business with them, well, then that should be a problem. That should be a sign. It should mean that when we knew where Osama bin Laden was hiding this whole time, but you didn't want to go ahead and invade, or you didn't want to stop doing business with the very country that was harboring him the whole time, well, that means it's money over principle. So when it comes to black people and voting rights, I heard a newscaster say, 2 months ago, the Democrats do this every time. When it comes down to a midterm election, all the white Democrats will go ahead and get all the muster, say, oh, yeah, we're going to do everything to voting rights, when they know full well they're never going to pass it. They're never going to set aside the filibuster because they know that there are two white Democrats that will toe the line and never concede. And so since they're not interested in getting any votes from the Republican side, what I suggest they do is what's the name of the Republican Liz Cheney? Liz Cheney is now persona non grata with the GOP because specifically she decided to stand and be the truth teller on Donald Trump. She's the one who voted for impeachment. Do you know that the GOP has basically castrated Liz Cheney? Now, I always talk about cojones and I'll talk about castration. Y'all know what I'm talking about, even though she does not have a penis. She's a woman. But Liz Cheney has basically been castrated and cut down by the GOP. But guess what? She got reelected by a landslide because the people know that she's speaking truth to power. And there are people in the GOP regime, Republicans against Trump, that are saying we need some activists to stand up. So they're fighting the Klan and QAnon and Marjorie Taylor Greene taking over the GOP while we're over here fighting with our infighting. We're fighting the LGBTQIA Kirsten Sinema for trying to basically say that gay rights and money and the environment are more important than black voter rights. So when you have you see where I'm going with this. You need to say what it really is. It is the LGBTQIA community heavily supporting the white power in the Democratic Party, so long as we pretend that we're going to pass voting rights. Then basically, we'll keep the black people and the brown people on the whole. They've been talking about immigration for the Mexican people and for the Latinos for 20 years. Have you ever seen immigration reform? No. So I don't know why black people are thinking that we're any different than the Latinos. I'm sorry, we were from slaves. The Latinos got it better than us. So if they've been pretending that they were going to protect the immigrants that have come here under DACA, but they actually haven't done it, when you have all these Latinos in power, you got Latino judges, you got Justice Sonia Sotomayor from the Bronx of New York who's sitting on the Supreme Court, and she can't even get anything done. Or, they give you the positions, but tell you to shut up once you take that seat. And on that note, we're going to cut to another song. I'm telling you, Latinos, you better find your own activism, because black people, we got to work on our own thing. Woo, woo. I hope y'all are liking the show today. I'm giving you a much needed. Oh, can you bring the sex box over here? I'm bringing a much needed point of levity, because I made the decision when I saw that people were like, oh, you should run for this. Run as an independent. I was like, you know what? I need to be an independent activist.
Does it need to be on?
No. Yeah, go ahead. So, use something like a key to slice it. So I'm one of those Huey P. Newton kind of black girls, I was probably a little bit too much woke activist to be running for Congress. But you know what? I still got almost 10,000 votes. And I didn't even listen. I was like, I'm not going to cheat to raise money. I'm not going to be having no foreign donors give checks illegally, like my opponent was allegedly accused of doing. And actually, I saw the records. He probably did something like that, but who knows? But either way, and they, the GOP, they got a black man to run against me in my Democratic race when they thought I was going to win that primary. They got a black man switch from being a Republican to a Democrat just for then to be able to run as the coon, to run for this seat, to split the black vote. And yes, he split the black vote. So what happened? The two black candidates that ran against each other in the Democratic primary. And what happened? The white GOP got to go ahead and put some man up there to run against. They got an allegedly homosexual man, not from the district, that they threw their support around to go run against a Christian white man on the GOP side who was running on a long-standing congressional seat held by, I forgot the guy's name, who went to jail. Either way, what I'm trying to say is this. There is a regime change that needs to happen in the Democratic Party at the state level and at the federal level. The DCCC is whack. They don't do anything for black people. The Congressional Black Caucus needs to pull their support from the white Democrats. Nancy Pelosi needs to be removed. They need to put Marsha in her spot. They should have voted for the black woman in the first place. They should have swung that way. But at the time, Nancy Pelosi had a black publicist. I don't know if you call her publicist. Her name was something Etienne. Well, either way, Nancy Pelosi's chief news person that put out the stories, whatever, for her. She then went to go be the person for Kamala, Ashley Etienne. Then she quit Kamala a few weeks ago, and then said, I can't work with her. And then the GOP tried to make it seem like it was Kamala's fault. No, wait, listen. Nothing that happens when Kamala is the vice president is Kamala's fault. It's all a grand design of sabotage. See, because that means maybe Joseph Biden is trying to figure out a way to get Kamala off the ticket secretly. Think that he needs to run with a white man on the ticket to be able to beat Donald Trump. Yeah, I bet that's what they're thinking. That's okay. That's okay, because I need to go ahead and still be on the radio so I can speak truth to power and tell all of them exactly what's happening, because that's what's happening. They're trying to sabotage the let me take a sip. Okay, hold on. I got to get my voice is a little scratchy this morning because I'm an activist, y'all. And you know what? My best friend, one of my very best friends on the face of the earth is a judge out in Dallas County. And she said, you know, bestie, you didn't need to win U.S. Congress. I said, I know you're right. She said, no, because you're a truth teller. And truth tellers have no friends, because everyone that is too afraid to speak truth to power, they're so fearful of saying what time it is. They don't want the backlash. But you were never afraid of the backlash. Now, my best friend is telling me this because we studied for the bar together, and I've been a lawyer for 20 years. And so my other best friend, she's a judge in Harris County. So I got, see, let me just tell you something about me. You must always look at the woman and her best friend's circle to determine what kind of chick she is. You know, they say that you are the company that you keep. Well, my best friend, Judge Tanner, Judge Hayes out in Dallas, my best friend, Shanidria Wagner. You know, I got some besties out there that, I'm sorry, but they're the kind of people I take advice from. So they all were like, you know what, girl? We love you now, but baby, you need to be telling the people, because you were telling them on Fox News, speaking truth to power. Then you did it on the campaign. And if you're not out there speaking truth to power on your platform, because see, now that I'm on the radio, I think God meant for me to just be on the radio. You know what I'm saying? God needed for me to be on the radio on 953 Jams doing It's Debatable with attorney Nyanza Elmore, because he knew that I was going to need to speak truth to power and try to spread it far and wide, that we need black people to stick together with other black people when it comes to voter protections. Stop trying to rely on white people in the Democratic Party to protect a right that you should already have had, that was fought for by Martin Luther King Jr. Okay? You got a lot of black people that they were like Moses. They didn't get to see the promised land. Okay, they never got to see a black man elected president. They never got to go ahead and see Barack Obama be on the ballot. But these black people gave their lives. So I need to remind all the Latinos out there, all the Asians out there, all the LGBTQIA out there, y'all are not a part of the equal rights movement. You're not. You are not allowed to couch and piggyback your fight for what you believe in on the backs of the black people who paved the way already. And I got to say the rest of it. We're doing the unboxing here.
1 minute.
We got 1 minute. So first we're going to talk about, so we got the sex box, you guys. I'm going to move this light. Eric, you got to be all the way sitting close to me in my shots. So get that chair with no arms. Get out of that one. Get on the other. Hurry up, baby. Hurry up, baby. You know my husband said he's so cool. He moves cool. You know what? Won't he do it? Won't God give you a good man? Okay. So, do I have another chair without any arms? I'm going over here. So we're getting set up for our unboxing, and I'm saying all this because I'm not taping next week because it's December 23rd. So I want to make sure we got to get the box set up so everybody can actually see. This is look, Eric, spice it up. There you go. Got more white people on the box.
You ready?
Okay, yeah, hold on. You're gonna actually you're gonna hold the box. I'm gonna say one line about the one minute on blacktivism. Then I'm going straight to the box.
Okay.
But I'm gonna ask you. Don't do that.
activist.
Okay, everybody. I'm back in this segment, and you know what? My husband just creeped in on my seat next to me, so I was a little bit verklempt because we were about to do an unboxing of this sex toy box that I got from Seductive Pleasure. You know, I already did the unboxing last month for November, but they sent me another box after I did their show. So even though I canceled them, so now I'm going to open, this is the last time I opened up the box with two gentlemen sitting in the station who I didn't have any relationship with. So now I'm actually sitting in here with my husband. Now, in full transparency, we did not use the sex box the last time. I think it's just still sitting on the side of the bed. And we said we got it. Yeah, well, my husband just said not yet, so I guess we got some things in store. So before we do the sex box, let me just say one thing. Being a black activist is what is needed for anybody that's running for office. If you are the kind of black person that wants to be reelected, please just don't run. If you are an activist that speaks truth to power and you have a record of speaking truth to power, I'm not talking about those Democrats that like to just come on like, well, yeah, I'm woke now. No, baby. We needed you to be up since 1964, since before I was born. See, I was born in 1972, but I was woke in 1964. Because I knew when I came out here what the world had in store for me. And my husband, as a black man, and I'm saying this because my husband belongs to the same fraternity of Martin Luther King Jr., the same fraternity of Thurgood Marshall, the deceased first black Supreme Court justice, the same fraternity of the first black male senator to be elected out of the state of Georgia, you know, Warnock, who I've been saying should be the president because he's an activist. So when you have a minister activist, I need to hear. Now, I'm as a black woman saying how important it is for black people to stand up for the rights of our own. Now, I always say what I want to say. Now, y'all need to hear. Now, let me ask my husband. Now, he hasn't gotten the question yet. Do you believe that there is racism involved at the top of the Democratic Party when it comes to Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema saying that they will not waive the filibuster as they did for the debt ceiling when it comes to equalization of voting rights, when they know that we only need 2 votes, which is those 2, to pass it? When we now only in 2021 have a Democratic majority in the House, the Senate, and at the presidency. Knowing that, is it fair for me to call them racist? They don't care about black folks and Latino folks. You can speak into your microphone, but look at the people so they can see your handsome face.
So what transpired during the last presidency really gave the right for people to be okay with being a racist. I need to say that again.
Amen, amen. See why I married in people?
So racist is no longer a bad thing. You have a lot of people on the other side that's owning that proudly, and that's the issue. This is December the 16th, 2021. 1965, 56 years ago, the Voting Rights Act, and we're talking about it 56 years later? Really? Think about that. Why? Do we matter? That's the bottom line. Do we matter?
So I know. Thank you for that. Now see. Now look. Now now mind you, my husband and I are activists. Now, we made the joint decision when I decided to run for office because my father passed away, who was a member of the Black Panther, who was at North Carolina A&T, who was a super activist, who ended up going to Prairie View A&M University. My mom went to Prairie View. My younger sister went to Spelman. Her husband went to Morehouse. We all graduated from Thurgood Marshall School of Law. We are all activists. We are all those people. We belong to the sororities and the fraternities. And sororities, tell me this, and I'm gonna do, how good does it make you feel to know that Martin Luther King was an alpha. Thurgood Marshall was an alpha. Warnock was an alpha. The national president of the Urban League, alpha. So when you have all those long lines of alpha men, including my father and my husband, that are saying what is important, what does Alpha Phi Alpha do to protect voting rights when you see what's happening on the national scale?
It's evident. It's what we do. We were the first. 1906, Ithaca, New York, Cornell University.
So
to give you that history.
So if you have the oldest black fraternity, all right, and then we have a black senator in that fraternity, and then you have the oldest black sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha, where we now have a vice president of the United States, I think maybe it would be a great ticket to have Kamala Warnock on a ticket. I'm just saying that and putting that out there in the universe, ladies and gentlemen, because that's why I got my galaxy. If you can see me on the gram or if you can see me on Facebook, I'm trying to put out into the universe. I see nothing wrong with a Warnock Harris. I don't know any reason why we need to put anybody else other than those two. But now we're going to go do an unboxing.
With a little bumpy rhyme.
So now that my husband is talking about, what we're going to do now is we're going to cut away. I hope you all go ahead. Listen, you're not going to hear me on December 23rd. It's going to be a previously played tape, and I may just go ahead and replay this one for next Thursday. But you're going to get an unboxing of the sex box that's come in. My husband and I are seeing this at the same time. This box is from Seductive Pleasure. It says explore your limits. And Eric, you're going to help me with this. And so I'm going to let my husband. So if you can actually see, we're going to hold it up. Now, as they usually do, I guess they think that black people don't have sex. So they always have the nice little white people on the front saying, spice it up. So go ahead and flip that open, Mr. Moore. Let's see what we're going to do. Oh. So this is the box that came in for December. Oh, and it looks like there's a there's a sleeping mask, you guys. And it's a satin white with black trim sleeping mask. That is not for sleeping. If you can read these words, it has F-U.
I'm showing our age.
Yes, that says F-U. Like, ooh, so if I put that on, oh, Lord, ladies and gentlemen, you know this came from white people because they love that like slavery. Now, what do we have here next? What do we have here next, Mr. Moore, my husband, who will never see this on me? What do we have here from the good white people?
You never know.
A neck harness to go around your neck with some chains, so that you can do the BDSM, and it has nipple clips, ladies and gentlemen. I've never used a nipple clip because I actually nursed my children, and I don't like anything having to do with nursing or clipping. So, this is a good box, ladies and gentlemen. Now, here's something that may happen. No, it's not going to happen ever. Nope. Oh, I thought it was something different, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, I've never seen a strap on because this is specifically the heterosexual box, just so you know. This is the man-woman box. They have other options for male, whatever, but I only need what I'm doing at home. So they sent this nice curves. What is this, Eric? Oh my gosh.
What does it look like?
It's
obvious.
It's a penis. It's a purple penis. Well, but the penis is meant to, I believe, strap into a pair of underwear, y'all. Oh my gosh. This is a seriously sculpted, a rubber penis meant to strap into some underwear so that a woman could have a strap on. Now, here's the thing. You know what? I'm sorry.
Oh no,
nothing's happening like that in the Moore households. We need to send this over there to we need to go send this to Kanye and Amber Rose. Remember that? Y'all know she said Kanye likes it up. He likes his whole hand up, whatever. Anyway, and we're gonna send this bondage BDSM chain with the nipple clips over to, who can we send this to? Kirsten Cinema. She's confused.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, actually, this particular dildo, whatever this strap on that goes into the underwear, we should probably send this to Kirsten Cinema's wife, so they can simulate heterosexual sex. Okay, so then we have what is this? This next one is called Sex Tenders. It is a vibrating, clear, cool. What is this? Power bullet. I'm gonna open it up. You know what? I don't know. We don't do. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we don't use toys. We don't need anything. No, we're all good. We don't even have to listen. We don't do 3-ways. No, we don't do that. We don't do anything that you've seen on TV. No. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? He ain't going nowhere. Because remember, I'm the marrying kind. And now look at this. This is exactly what it was, ladies and gentlemen. Eric busted it out of the box. This is a silicone penis cover that you apparently slip on. I'm going to pull this out. You are supposed to slip the gelatin silicone penis cover on top of the erect penis, and there is a silicone vibrator. It looks like it's meant to stimulate the clitoris.
Okay. It is a stretchable vibrator.
Right into the microphone. They can't hear you, Eric.
It is a
stretchable on the camera. He doesn't know. Listen, let me louder and into the camera.
It is a stretchable vibrating penis sleeve for increased size and sensation.
Oh, okay. Penis sleeve for increased size. This is not for black men. I'm just saying. Black men historically don't need to increase their penis size. I'm trying to tell you for all these white people that are curious.
It's only
yes.
5 inches, so you know.
Well, this one didn't fit most black men. This is you know what? This is the white people box. They have white people on the cover, and they have white people issues. Black men don't need a penis sleeve, baby. They are anthropologically speaking. Listen, I'm just trying to tell you. Go look it up. Google me. Black men of African descent are known for having the largest penis size. I'm just trying to tell you. Asian men are known for having the smallest. That's why, yet again, they have the white people on the cover. They're saying in this one, you have the FU mask, you have the bondage change, and then you have the 2 to 5.
No, actually, the other side is F me. You need to point that out. See, Mr. Moore is always going to look at the details. Yeah. Because he's trying to incorporate some of these into our bedroom. Yeah.
Look, this one might work. This is what I'm showing you.
So turn on the other side.
This says, so Eric said, you got it wrong, baby. Put it on this side.
There you go.
This says,
right.
F me.
Right.
And I just put it on, ladies and gentlemen, since you're not looking at us on the live stream, if you're out there listening.
Time to cut.
So now Eric is trying to break for the cuts and say, let's just go on out there and let's put it into action. So the only thing that the black couple that's married, that's heterosexual, that doesn't do kinky stuff, we would only use this mask, the eye mask, that I don't use because I wear fake eyelashes. And I don't want my lash extensions to come off on my mask.
I want to look at you.
Well, Eric, then you can go ahead and put this on. Mm-hmm.
No, I don't
well,
want to cover my eyes.
See, he said they don't want to cover his eyes. But they also have this vanilla pear bath soak. Well, you know what? Let me tell you something about bath and sex. It doesn't go hand in hand, ladies and gentlemen. They just doing that on the Housewives. Who wants to be in a water full of dirt that you just bathed in and then do something that involves the exchanging of bodily fluids? If you're a woman, women are not supposed to be doing that in saunas and hot tubs and stuff. I'm that girl. Yeah, Eric Marble somebody. Listen, he married a woman that is a preacher's granddaughter from the Church of Christ. And baby, we are not playing those games. The Pentecostal church was not doing that. I just started wearing red lipstick at 45. That should let you know something. So when you hear all of my beliefs out here, it's coming from part of the Pentecostal church and the Church of God in Christ, Church of Christ, all of those that say no dresses, no lipstick, no nothing. Well, we just lay down on our backs in missionary style. We try to spice it up by sometimes standing up. But what we're going to do is going to tell you all that we had this one last box. It's the other box. Other box. The other box. See, my husband doesn't know. He's not supposed to mumble on the radio because they can listen to everything that you're saying. We live on the air, baby. So I also have this alcoholic box. I don't drink. Hurry up, Eric. Listen, my husband is so cool. Listen, y'all. He's more into style than substance. See, that's why he didn't need to run for office. I'm the only one that's going to run for something because I don't ever really care about anything. Okay, so this is the alcohol liquor box from Box on the Rocks. And this is, they send you monthly entries to tell you what to make. So I opened up their box, and this one is the fun at, what is this? This is how to make a Mai Tai. So they send you the recipes, 2 recipes with alcohol, and then 1 that's a mocktail. They send you all the fancy things that you need, all of the very, very upscale. They use top shelf products. They send you all the mixings. They even send you the actual tools. You know, the metal ones, not the plastic ones. Look at this. They sent these honey bee dipsticks to dip in your liquor. I mean, they provide everything except for the alcohol. So if you can go buy a woman-owned, now I'm an activist. I believe in supporting women-owned businesses. This is a woman-owned business. I'm not a drinker, but I am a fan of Box on the Rocks. You can find them at @boxon.rocks. It's really weird, so you got to just Google it, and then hopefully it'll just take it to you. But I want you all to be good to each other. Have a very Merry Christmas. Have a happy Ramadan or happy Hanukkah, whatever your faith is. Just be faithful. Stay true to whatever it is, because no matter what religion you preach, the season that we're in is a season of giving. So don't let your voting rights be taken away unjustly. Bye, everybody. Can you turn that up? I like the baby. So, Box on the Rocks, let me tell you. They had, I get to finish on the air. They have this was to make, what was this to? To make the Paloma. They actually gave these ocean spray. They put the honey dippers together already so that you can make this particular drink. And I have made each one of the cocktails in the past. They send you the garnishes. They send you the juice, the little shakers, everything that's supposed to go in there. And y'all already saw the other box. But you know what? What do y'all think about the sex box? This is what it said. F you or F me. That's the sexy one. If anybody would like to seek a Christmas listen, I went to a white elephant party last week. My girlfriend DeAndrea hosted a party. It was fantastic. It was my first white elephant party. I considered making this. They said you can buy a gift that's $30 or more, but the sex box is like $50 or something like that when you include the shipping. So I was gonna bring the sex box because I wasn't sure because it was a male and female thing, but I didn't bring the sex box. I decided to unbox it on the air, and I decided to go ahead and buy a gift. It was a women's box, but we had a great time. Shout out to DeAndrea. Thank you for having such a fantastic party. And you all out there, I hope you have a Merry Christmas. And you know, I need to visit more sex stores. This is the penis sleeve. I've never seen anything like this in my life. It looks very entertaining. But this is the only thing that we're probably going to use in this box, and some bath soap for me to soak by myself or air by himself, or just us in there together. But anyway, you guys, keep hope alive. Keep voting black. If you're gay, keep voting gay. If you're Jew, keep voting Jew. Just support whatever is in your best interest. Because guess what? If we all can see the humanity in our own individual plights, then if everyone fights for their own equal rights at the same time, without usurping someone else's civil activism, then we can all reach the finish line at the same time. But whenever you try to usurp the power of the main people, like the black folks, see, I'm mad at the gays. Not the gays, but the trans that try to take over the party. I'm mad at the environmentalists that are taking the shit too far. Okay? So, the fact that it's out there, you need to be starting to vote for people that are woke and that people that ain't never scared. And you need to make sure that you don't believe the hype and the bullcrap they're putting out there about Kamala Harris, and don't believe anything that you hear negatively about Stacey Abrams, because we all know that without Stacey, there is no Joe. Without Kamala, there is no Joe. Without black people, there is no Joe. So we need to make our presence known, and we need to stand up, and we need to do all those things that matter to black people. Okay? Black voting rights matter. Black people died to vote. Please, ladies and gentlemen, stop giving your vote to people that don't deserve it, and stop voting for these white Democrats that are really racist. All right. I got to sign off now. I'm going to save this video. Actually, I'm not going to do it because Sharella's going to do it, so she can go ahead and post. They've asked me to post a lot to Instagram, to be an Instagram influencer, starting January the 6th to post all of my highlighted reels. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out all the time, but I have what is known as the cell phone graveyard. My phones are where all pictures come to die, because I take 400 million pictures of everything and everybody looks great, but I never post them. So I will be posting a lot of pictures of what I've done for the last 4 weeks and tagging a lot of things that I've done, but they've already been done. Don't act like I'm doing something now, because I got so many parties that the 95.3 Jams holiday party, whoop, 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 the station party is on Friday. So I hope you all go to if you go into your holiday parties for your companies, if you're black, don't drink too much. Matter of fact, don't drink at all. They're always coming for your neck, baby. You'll be the first one that act out. When you got Sally Jane, she could probably strip off her clothes, do a twerk dance, and still keep her job on Monday, act like nothing happened. She'll be elevated to vice president. But let let Tanisha do it. If she drops it to the hot, what's gonna happen? Oh, well, that was kind of inappropriate. But Sally Jane did it. Yeah, but you're black. She wouldn't even know that it was because she was black, but she should know it's because she was black. Don't try to get away with what white people get away with when you're at your Christmas parties. Go and party at home with your black people and have your own black party where you can be comfortable. Where you can listen to songs where they might drop the N-bomb. Where you can actually talk about the wokeness. You can actually talk about black voter rights and not have to worry about the white people saying, well, doesn't that seem a little racist? Yes, it does. But y'all created racism, so we're just here to go ahead and reverse course on that. Anyway, come over here, Sherelle, and shut down my social media so we can pack it up and get out of here, ladies, because it's Thursday and my throat is a little scratchy.
Here, y'all come in the camera and...
Come in the camera. Come on, Eric.
And smile for like 3 seconds.
We're going to get a nice freeze.
1, 2, and 3. There we go.
You know, I